Welcome. Today we are going to be analyzing the iPad and its usefulness in the teaching and learning environment. We will be discussing its historical development, identifying the competencies it has in relation to the HCHI model, and as well we will share some of the drawbacks. To begin, we would like to share a short video clip with you.
The iPad is a popular touchscreen tablet computer. In 2010, Apple launched the new tablet called the iPad, the most important product of Apple's history. Two models were released, one that was a Wi-Fi only model and a Wi-Fi and 3G HSPA version, both with no cameras. The original iPad came with 16, 32, and 64 GB storage options. It also included ambient light sensor to adjust brightness. By May 2010, Apple had sold 1 million iPads. In 2011, the new iPad 2 was released. It was 33% thinner, 15% lighter, and had a better processor. The biggest difference was the front and back cameras that support FaceTime video phone application. In March 2012, the iPad 3 was launched with an even better processor, better graphics, and a Retina display. In October 2012, the iPad 4 and iPad Mini was launched. The iPad 4 had new hardware, HD FaceTime camera, and improved LTE compatibility, and all-digital Lightning connector. The iPad Mini had a 7.9mm screen, aimed at the emerging sector of smaller tablets. It was 53% lighter than the iPad 2 and 7.2mm thick. In October 2013, Apple introduced the 5th generation iPad called the iPad Air. In October 2014, Apple released the iPad Air 2 and the iPad Mini 3. The iPad Air 2 was the first device with iOS to feature a triple-core CPU and 2 GB of RAM. It was also thinner and faster than its predecessors.
The technical order as part of the HCHI model refers to the ability and what skills are required to operate the computer hardware and software. In terms of technical skills that are required in order to use the iPad, the bare minimum is required, as there are only 2 buttons available. Clicking on any one of them will switch on the device. Once the device turns on, a series of simple instructions will guide the new user through the device's startup process. If in doubt, the user could always go to the internet and do a quick search or even go to the Apple website to have any questions answered. If the availability of Wi-Fi or data exists, the user could use the built-in Siri intelligent assistant to find answers. The iPad can be considered a pioneer or even the first of its kind. It isn't a laptop or a smartphone, but it shares similar qualities with them. The fact that there is no peripheral attachment, such as a mouse or a keyboard, and the fact that it has a large touchscreen allows users to easily use it. Almost all forms of technology function because we use our hands to operate them. In the case of the iPad, our fingers. This allows for a more natural means to input information or tasks. As a result, users feel more engaged and motivated to learn and stay connected with the content. The portability of the device allows for users to learn in various locations, thereby more flexibility with communication with others.
The informational order describes the ability of a digital device to access, store, filter, aggregate, and connect information. It is the ability to choose the best information and to be able to determine how reliable and credible the information is. When analyzing the iPad, it is a technological device that has this ability. The user inputs the information they are looking for. The iPad will search for the information and provide the user with the results. The user must then analyze the information for credibility and reliability. An example of this is the ability for users to use different apps that allow them to search for information and research. Some of these search apps are Google, Safari, and National Geographic. The student or user is required to open the app and enter in what information they are looking for. The iPad performs the lower order technical skill, the actual searching, for the information that has been asked of it by the user. From the results, the student then evaluates the results according to the relevancy, credibility, currency, etc., to select the item that best meets their need. They can take this acquired information and use it in a report, research paper, etc. The advantage of using an iPad for this type of search is that with the size and touch screen features, the portability and readability of the retrieved information is better than compared to reading and searching on a phone or smaller device. Another app that is useful for utilizing the informational order competency is EBSCOhost. It allows the student to search the library database they have access to through their school. The student inputs the information they are searching for by using keywords, author, title, subject, etc. Once the student has entered in the keywords or topic information they require, they can select limiters as well. They can also search for only peer-reviewed scholarly articles that are known to be credible and reliable. From the results, the student can select the articles that are most useful for their assignment or research. They can save the articles, email them to themselves or others, or view the full article on the screen. They can also create folders to store their articles in. They can then pull out the information they need from the article to use in their assignment. The EBSCOhost app on the iPad allows the user to set up an account so that every time they use the app, they have the option to save their search history and articles for later viewing. If using EBSCOhost from a desktop or laptop, the user must always log into an account. Instead, the iPad app automatically logs them in so that it is not a separate step. Another benefit is when searching from the app, once your off-campus login or school authentication information is entered, it is saved so you do not have to log in each time you want to search. The iPad remembers it.
The social order focuses on communicating with others either synchronously or asynchronously. It also includes the need to develop certain competencies, which includes communication, collaboration, safety and security, negotiation, and respect. One aspect of social communication with the iPad is how individuals have found a way to incorporate ways of teaching students who have a learning disability. This example is factual proof that iPads can be used as a form of communication in an educational environment. There is an article that was found on the UOIT web library that provides informational research that was done on 3 autistic children that were taught a 3-step communication process with an iPad-based speech-generating device. These children possess autistic spectrum disorder and severe communication impairment. The 3 children completed a multi-step communication sequence. The sequence involved 2 types of requesting and social communication response. The results of the study helped to prove that it is possible to teach children who lack the basic communication skills needed an intervention approach that combines a systematic approach with iPad technology. There still isn't enough research and development that is going into reaching these students with a disability to allow them to learn. But there are barriers of communication that are starting to be broken down with the help of digital technology. Another example is how iPads have created a platform of connectivity in the educational environment on all levels, such as educators, students, and administrators. Researchers are therefore changing the areas of experience and practice like medicine, business, and education. iPads have touchscreens that remake the role of embodied practice in human-computer interactions. The social aspects of the iPad is the many uses it holds in a learning environment. One article that discussed this in depth was iPads in the Technical Communication Classroom, an empirical study of technology integration and use. It states that a boundary object is considered to be an institutional artifact that is capable of establishing common ground between people with varied perspectives and interests. Educators, therefore, can explore the many different applications and implications for teaching material. The iPad can also help mediate inescapable tensions between centralized and decentralized socio-technical practices in university settings. Most technology classrooms are designed in a way that distances students from teachers. While not eliminating this problem, the iPad does help to minimize it by allowing mobility and the freedom to interact with individual students instead of only with a group.
The epistemological order relates to the ability of a mobile device or computer to enable us to problem solve, analyze, create, or evaluate in the learning environment. This relates to what is called higher order thinking. The computer is given the task of using the lower order technical skills to allow the individual the ability to take that information and analyze and evaluate the information that the computer processed. When we examine the iPad, there are many apps available that allow the user to input the basic data. The iPad compiles and processes the information as it is instructed to do by the user, and then the user takes that data and analyzes and evaluates it for the purpose they require. The first example used to engage epistemological order for the iPad is the Book Creator app that students can use to create a book digitally or book reviews. Different media can be included such as text, pictures, and audio to enhance the book, and they can be shared with others. The iPad takes the direction from the user in terms of what format the book is to be created, text, font, etc., and then the user is the one who inputs the information and analyzes it for ways to improve it. Poplet is another useful app that uses brain mapping. The user sets up an account and then have multiple files for different topics. It allows them to brainstorm an idea and create and organize their thoughts. It is a way to visually organize the information for various projects, etc. They are able to view ways that they can connect and combine their thoughts and ideas. And from combining the various ideas they write down, they are able to create and expand into new ideas, therefore promoting the ability to encourage higher order thinking. These are just a couple of apps that demonstrate the capability that the iPad has to promote and enhance the epistemological order competency.
There are several drawbacks when it comes to the iPad. One of the major drawbacks is the technological aspect of it. The iPad is limited within the apps it can provide to its customers because everything is within a contract basis. So Apple can only advertise specific apps that are within the contract without providing the freedom of all the applications such as learning tools, fitness apps, and other nutrition apps that other phones can provide or other tabloids can provide. Furthermore, an article by Nations describes that the iPad is limited in multitasking because it can only open one app at a time, which limits one's accessibility to cross-reference articles if they need to get any work done on the iPad. So you can only have one application open at a time. Lastly, they are increasingly expensive as the models progress in numbers if they were to be compared. The original iPad was roughly sold at about $400, while the new iPads are ranging from $500 to $600. That's a huge increase. On to the more social drawbacks of the iPad. Studies have found that major households with large families that have more than one iPad seem to communicate less, which means lesser table conversation and bonding between parents and children, which weakens over time. It's either because of busy schedules, it could be either that the parent just isn't home enough, it could be either the children are more consumed with the technology and feel more closely related to it rather than having face-to-face conversations with their parents or indulging in extracurricular activities outside. It could be multiple factors. In the school setting, the iPad has only added to the tech dependency that the students are already suffering from, as Mac Labs allow students to freely move around with an iPad in their hands for group presentations and peer communication, which diminishes the aspect of hands-on learning. So now, a university as UIT is very dependent on technology, and they expect you to revolve around it and do everything with your laptop. That is a prime example of technological dependency. In conclusion, the iPad meets the 4 competencies of the HCHI model: technical, informational, social, and epistemological. As with any device, there are drawbacks. However, the capabilities the iPad possesses does make it more popular and a wiser choice when deciding whether or not to incorporate it into teaching or the learning environment. The ease of use, portability, and screen size all add to the many benefits of the features of the iPad.